Alrighty. Oh. Hello, Dre. Hello, Long. Hello, Morgan. Excited about Vayne 2.0? Pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah, this got released by like the Russian LOR account. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Just got a Demacia Nova Crystal. I would go for Vayne. See you along. All right, let's go ahead and go through this. We'll play it once. Probably won't really say too much the first time, and then we'll go back and talk about it. Classic LOR leaks. Yeah, I know Brazil used to do it a lot, I think. She does with new cards. And a new adventure. Alright, I don't think they show us anything afterwards. But yeah, she is going to play very similarly to like a Vayne. Alright, let's mute this. And actually, I believe they have the card put up for what she is. Yeah, so let's take a look at Ambessa. And she seems like she's going to be very strong. So 4 cost, barrier, and challenger. Each round, the first time I kill an ally, create a midnight raid in hand. And a level up is you've attacked 5 times. Public Execution has the Siphon VFX. Yeah, I was seeing that was interesting. So yeah, the first time I kill an enemy, and yeah, it is an enemy, it's not your own unit, so you have to be sure you're killing enemy units. And the Midnight Raid, there's another card that generates this, the Ruined Reckoner, but this is giving you a free attack, and this is just going to be a very solid way to increase your level up because you've attacked 5 times, and this is generating a free attack for you. So great way to try to level her up pretty quickly. Now, when she levels, she goes to a 6/4, and now each round, the first time I kill an enemy, rally. So instead of getting a free attack for a single unit, you are now just rallying, so all of your units can attack. So again, she's going to play pretty similarly to like a Vayne, where you're generating a lot of free attacks, you're getting a lot of rallies going. So pretty much Noxious, or Noxian, man, Noxian, there we go. Goodness, words. Noxian Vayne is very much the vibes we're getting from her. We do also have her starting deck as well. Honestly, rather get reused VFX than no VFX. Yeah, I would agree with that. So, Cunning Sweep, I don't think we know what this one is yet, but it's a new card, I think. Rictus is a new card. That is her bodyguard from Arcane. And then we have Public Execution. So, again, we don't know what this card is either. The other one's all normal Noxian army units. Some of them, though, Legion Marauder, I don't think we have in any other deck. And Legion Marauder is a pretty fun card. Kato, I'm sure we don't have in any other deck. Legion Drummer and Grenadier, both of those we do, and I think maybe Blade Squire. So we'll be interested to see what some of these are. Right now, though, she looks solid. Here is Rictus, one of the new cards we're getting. So he has the free attack as well as barrier. Attack, stun the strongest back row enemy. This is going to be pretty solid, like a 2-cost 2/2. Free attack, very good. This is going to give you 1 towards your level up, so that is great. Also, let's actually take a look. So her level up is just you've attacked 5 times. Not I've seen you attack. So you can actually count this before she is on the board. And that's pretty big because you already are going to attack naturally every other round. So you're already getting attacks in. And then the fact you're getting a free attack on your 2 cost, that means Ambessa is normally going to level pretty shortly after you drop her. Because it's not I've seen. So her level up condition is going to be very easy to do. Backward keyword comeback. There's a lot of free attacks. Yeah, because she's generating free attacks. You're getting a free attack on one of your other units. It's going to be very easy to level her. So you're going to get a lot of rallies. Cease with her right. Cease and desist, it's like if you can get to the 10 power, then potentially. But it's going to be fairly difficult to get her to 10 power. Because all the attack relics, I think the most they give you is 2. And so you put 2 attack relics on plus another, plus the cease and desist. Like you'd only hit that if she's already leveled. So it kind of wouldn't help that much. Yeah, I don't think cease and desist is really going to be a good call. Ambessa is much more my style, but still a bit generic. I like that she got Barrier and Noxus. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to get into 10 power. Like, you can try to hope you can get extra power throughout the course of the adventure. Death's Foil definitely sounds very good, if I had it. Death's Foil would be solid, because she does have that challenger, so being able to get attacks with her won't be the worst, but making sure she survives after the first hit from that barrier, not going to be too bad. Living Weapon, yeah, Living Weapon could be pretty good. The NA account posts the same video we saw earlier. Yeah, I figured that this is just showing us what they were revealing at like 11. So we're probably going to get new stuff at like 11:30. So there's still some things here that we don't know what they are. And we also don't know what the star powers are at all either. Yeah, we can look at the Warwick stuff that Brian, I'm guessing he was the one that worked on Warwick, because normally they let whoever worked on it reveal some stuff. So for Warwick, will it work to increase the size? Oh, it does work for this one. Okay. So Cruel Experiment, this is going to be his epic relic. Power, when you play an ally with 2 or more health, deal 1 damage to it, grant it Overwhelm and Impact. This is actually going to be doing a lot for you. We were thinking that we were going to have to run the Beast Within on Warwick. This is giving you Overwhelm. Also, the fact that it's damaging your own units is going to count as more iterations of damage, so it's going to increase your own units. I think you might want to play Warwick with either the Disciple of Shadows or the one where you're dealing 3 to all units, because that way, especially if you have him at 6 stars, you have this first as your 3 epics, so he damages himself, but then if you put below that either Disciple of Shadows or Wicked Harvest, I believe that's the name, that could kill other units and then heal him back up to full. Also note that this is an epic relic. You could throw this also on Tahm Kench. Like, Tahm Kench is getting a pretty massive increase in power from this relic. So this is going to be good for Fiddlesticks. Not Fiddlesticks. Although it could work for Fiddlesticks as well. It's going to be good for Warwick, because the Impact and Overwhelm, both of these are very good. It's increasing your scaling and then further increasing your scaling, increasing your damage overall. This is going to be very solid. Also could be good for Fiddlesticks. Also can be definitely good for Tahm Kench. Overall, pretty solid. Tom has more synergy with this relic than Warwick. I don't know. It has good synergy with Warwick as well. You could also use this and run Berserker's Buckle on your Warwick if you wanted, or really any champion, but especially your Warwick. So you can play this and he just immediately gets scaled up. But take a look at the other items here for your Constellation. So this is all your bonus stars. Your support champs have Ravenous Hydra. We called this yesterday. That was kind of what we were guessing they were going to put this on. That's solid though. Dropping your support champion, hitting the entire enemy board. I think you're really going to want to go for like a one or two cost support champion, so you can just drop them very early, especially since Warwick is a 3 cost. Blood Hunt has Mana Potion. This is really nice because Blood Hunt is not only your champion spell, but it's also the spell you're generating every single round from your 2-star, at least every round if you don't already have one in hand. So just further reducing all those down by 1 mana is really nice. So yeah, this is good. Spells you acquire in adventures have Pyromantic Wake. This will be fun, giving you some more Nexus damage, and then also just helping you scale up. For one, the damage alone is solid. Now, this damage isn't going to scale like the damage you get with Swain, but it's just giving you more damage, so you can try to scale up your units from your like 1, 3, and 6-star. So I think that will be solid. And then Caustic Rift, this is hitting the entire enemy board for damage, has Elixir of Sorcery, so it goes off twice, which, if the enemy has a lot of units, even if this doesn't kill them, that is a lot of applications of damage. So if they have 6 units, you're then hitting the entire enemy board twice, you're doing 12 damage. With your 6-star, it's every 3 ticks of damage, gives you that increased scaling. So just dropping your Caustic Rift into a full board is giving you like 4 extra counts of your 6-star to really just scale up all of your units. So these all seem pretty solid bonus stars. Pyromantic Wake is 3 damage to the enemy nexus. Star of Wonder is the GOAT this time, not Star of Discovery for once. Yeah, I'd say the Caustic Rift going off twice is probably better than Pyromantic Wake. But I think each one of these is pretty good. I don't think any of these are really bad. And I think the Cruel Experiments, this is not only good by itself, but also the great thing with this is it just makes it so we don't have to run Beast Within. We don't have to go that way to get the Overwhelm. And we also don't feel like we have to go and get the Nora Relic because we're also getting the impact here as well. So not only is this solid, but it's just opening up our choices in what relics we want to go with. And also, yeah, this is going to be great for... One, you could use this on a whole bunch of different champions, but really Tahm Kench is going to love this because it's just going to give you a lot of extra scaling and damage. So Tahm Kench is going to get a massive buff in this patch just from this item alone. Let's look here at what these guys... It's super zoomed in from that one video. Okay, yeah, so they just dropped the video we already saw earlier. Ambessa, though, looks pretty good. Buff if you pay at the moment, yeah. It'd be nice if Ambessa's 4-star is the same as Yumi's, or if we get Rally every round. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if with Ambessa for the 4-star, they just gave you Overwhelm. I think that is fairly likely. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if they gave her Overwhelm. Rally every round would be, I think, too crazy to give anyone. Failings for free attacks. Failings could work, yeah. Yeah, the Nora one... That would make sense. We should get Ambessa's star powers. We'll get that today. We should get the relic today, but it might be later today. But yeah, also in a couple hours, they're also dropping the patch notes, which should show us both the relics there. Yeah, the base deck seems like it should be pretty fun. Blade Squire is kind of whatever. Not that big of a deal. Like it's a 1-drop, it's fine. Legion Drummer's pretty good. Grenadier's not bad. Legion Marauder will be fun, though. Those everywhere buffs, just scaling him up, giving him free attacks so he can get more scaling. That should be pretty good. Kato is also pretty solid. You have some decent support synergy in here. The Public Execution, it's probably a removal spell, but we don't know what. And then Rictus is doing a lot for you. It having barrier and free attack is big. Attack stun the strongest back row enemy. Also pretty good. Yeah, it's Ambessa seems like she's gonna be solid. I'm guessing public execution does a free attack targeting the enemy. I think they show it here. I don't really want to deal with the audio at the moment. So they show it at the bottom of the deck. You see it down here. So there's 2 cards we haven't seen before. That 1 cost is probably Cull of the Weak. And then that 4 cost is the public execution. Yeah, so that wasn't a free attack. That was it going off, and it was using the Nasus spell. Yeah, the song is pretty good. So that doesn't look like a free attack. It looks like they did the strike, killed it, and then they started to attack later. So yeah, the public execution doesn't seem to be anything different. Or it doesn't seem to be a free attack. It just seems like it's some form of removal. What it does in addition to removal, who knows? Ambessa is related to Shurima, so Nasus animation as strike makes sense. Could be a rally. Yes, the public execution, it could be kill an enemy and rally. Yeah, the copium for the Shurima connection does seem like that. Strike and rally, maybe. That would make sense, because they do show us getting a kill with it and then them attacking afterwards. We're grasping at straws for Shurima here. Yeah. Very easy to snowball. Yes, I think she is going to be very solid. Like, just think of how much Vayne absolutely destroys right now. Now, I do think this can be a good and bad thing depending on kind of your viewpoint. But Ambessa will probably be similar to Vayne, but not as champion-focused, I don't think. Now, Ambessa is giving you the rallies, so yes, there is still that aspect. But for Vayne, you pretty much don't play any other cards but Vayne. You drop Vayne, you do free attacks, you end incredibly quickly. With Ambessa, I think you're going to rely on your units more. Okay, so you rally off the public execution because it triggers her power. That's true. Yeah, the public execution, it could just be giving you having a unit strike someone else. Because Ambessa, when she levels, each round the first time I kill an enemy rally. So it might not be a rally tied to the spell. It could just be her striking a unit. So it could be very similar to Siphoning Strike, which is why they use that animation. Because one of your units striking an enemy. Yeah, that's a good call. It could be not directly tied to the spell itself. It's just a way to let Ambessa get a strike off. So yeah, we'll have to see what the star powers are. As far as the 4th star, I do think giving her Overwhelm or going for the Nora power, the Phalanx, when you target a unit, give it Barrier. I think both of those are pretty good contenders. As far as other ones, there's, at the moment, nothing really that comes to mind. I think Round Start Rally would be too broken for them to give anyone. And yeah, I'm not really thinking of any other 4 stars that would make too much sense. It's good to see that both champions are very, very aggro. Yes, they're both pretty aggressive. Ambessa looks way more fun to Warwick than me. That's just because I like a lot of attacks. See, for me, I think I'm still going to prefer Warwick because I really like the strike playstyle, and I think Warwick's a cool champion. So I'm still more favoring Warwick, but Ambessa, she's quickly gone from a champion I could care less about to someone that actually looks like they'll have a pretty fun playstyle. Because I also like the Vayne playstyle, and she is giving off serious Noxian Vayne vibes. Interesting, all the cards have items, but she's at 0 stars. Ain't that a bunch of items added to her? Not sure exactly what you mean. She could be pretty good for the monthlies with Fleeting Blade. Would really like to introduce more powers than just the Warwick 4-star. We'll have to see. Yeah, the items come from champion levels, not stars. The most important thing about Ambessa, her show comes out in 4 days. Do you think the 3-star is going to be an upgrade like Warwick to tier 3 to 6? I mean, who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if she had another rally in her star powers somewhere. Like, she already has a free attack built in. She already has rallies built in as well. I honestly, even though it's very similar to Warwick, I wouldn't be surprised if they gave us something like Public Execution also generating that. Because giving your Ambessa more ways to get kills wouldn't be too surprising. So whether they're generating like a Public Execution, or maybe when you get the attack token, you summon a Midnight Raid, potentially generating this. I feel like they're going to try to add ways in for Ambessa to get more kills, so you can more consistently get your rallies going. Because yes, she can, right now, she can attack, use the challenger, get a kill, and immediately attack again. So she can kind of act like a more consistent Darius. So that's going to be good. You're going to be getting consistently 2 attacks every round, or every round that you start with the attack token. So that's solid. But the big thing is trying to get the attack token on your off turns. So trying to get Ambessa to get kills every other turn so you can get another attack in. I think that's a big thing they'll probably try to give you in the star powers. I'm a little late. Did they add more new stuff for Ambessa than Warwick? Ambessa has a couple cards, yes. So Ambessa has Public Execution, Rictus, and Cunning Sweep. The Cunning Sweep and Public Execution, we don't know exactly what they do. We don't have star powers yet. That should, I think, get released in like 8 minutes. If she gives her units more barrier in her powers, that's going to be so busted. I think that could be pretty fun, yeah. Ambessa's looking way more fleshed out than Warwick to me. I'm liking this a lot. I mean, they probably could only really develop cards for one of them, and so they chose Ambessa. And so that's probably what's going on. And now imagine, with how she already is, what they have to put on her relic to try to sell it. Round start, create a Midnight Raid. I wouldn't be surprised if they did either round start, create a Midnight Raid, or when you get the attack token, or round start if you have the attack token. One of those generated a Midnight Raid as well. I wouldn't be too surprised if they did that. When you get the attack token, summon a Legion Marauder would be silly. That would be a little silly to just make it a Legion Marauder deck. Cunning Sweep sounds like Smear Attack when she's in melee in League. Praying for Phalanx. Phalanx could be pretty good. Can we talk about the Rictus art just being a 3D render? I mean, yeah, it's definitely not the best photo. but he does seem like he's going to be a pretty good card. But they're definitely having to try to figure out ways to get the card art, because I don't think they have the same team to actually do the art for them anymore. I know there's the same thing with the Caitlyn art for her sniper shot. That was kind of reusing some older assets. Warwick was specifically designed as a beginner-friendly champ, so him being more basic isn't that surprising. Yeah, and I think Warwick is going to be fun. I know a lot of people were kind of trying to shit on him before, but it's I think he's going to be fun to play. Is he crazy complex? Is he doing a lot of different things? No, he's definitely not. He's going to be relatively simple, but I think he'll be fun. What if she generates a strike card and reduces its cost? That is another thing that could be from the 2-star. The public execution, it seems to be one of your units strikes an enemy unit. There's probably some other flavor text with it that somewhat changes it and does something else along that lines. But yeah, it seems like it's one of your units strikes the enemy. That's going to be really good for Ambessa getting kills. And so if they generate that with any of the star powers, it wouldn't be too surprising. Hey, Rivi, we've seen Ambessa and her starting deck. Right now, the best way to describe her so far is Noxie and Vayne. She's all about getting some rallies. Sweep is stun. Power's out. All right, let's refresh this. All right, let's pull this up here. So, Cunning Sweep. Stun an enemy, create a Sundering Slam in hand. Okay, we'll have to see what that is. Public Execution, 6 cost. An ally strikes an enemy. If it dies, rally. Okay, so it doesn't have to be Ambessa. And also, if you're using this Ambessa, she does the first time she kills a unit. So you could just have anyone strike an enemy. Now, this does go down to a 4 cost with her level ups. So it's killing a unit and getting a rally. All right, so we did see Phalanx as the 4-star. So that is true. All right, military training. When an ally attacks, grant allies with the same name everywhere 1 power. Okay, so she's pretty much having the same effect as the Legion Marauders, except all of those units. That's interesting to be scaling up specific units. Interesting. Reinforce the formation. +1 starting mana. Round start. Create a conscription in hand. If you already have one, reduces cost by 1. Who knows what that is? When an ally attacks, grant allies everywhere with the same name 1/1. So things to note with this. When you're attacking with a full board, you're buffing up all those units and you're buffing up all copies of them. But then when you use your free attacks, then you're kind of choosing, okay, which specific unit do I want to buff up all copies of this? All right, so we see the Phalanx. That's going to be really good for the Midnight Raid. Mana Flow, get a Mana Gem. Out of my way. When you attack with 10 plus total power, kill the strongest back row enemy. Okay, so this is something that you'll be able to trigger when you do an attack with your full board. But when you have a unit scaled up, you could do this with your free attacks. Because if you can have one unit that has 10 total power, which you'll be able to get, especially in the mid game, you'll be able to just have really big removal. That could be pretty strong. What is the conscription? So summon an exact copy of an allied follower. Oh, that's good, actually. So create a conscription in hand. If you already have, reduces cost by 1. Since you're making a copy of a allied follower, if you have buffed up one unit a lot with your military training, like if you've been using all of your free attacks on a specific unit, then you can get another copy of them. For one, if both of them attack, you can then have more scaling, because when you're attacking with a full board, all of your units are triggering this. And yeah, this isn't ephemeral or anything like that. Also, this is slow. So if you get slow but steady, this will go off twice. Also note, any time you can get either Stabilize, Shadow Totem, anything like that to get multiple copies of a unit, especially your champion, you'll be able to get some big scaling off. Conscription will also shield that first unit because of phalanx. That's true. That's a good point. Since you're targeting a unit, you are getting your phalanx to go off to give it barrier. Did we... Yeah, the Sundering Slam. Where was that? Wait, did it not show us what the Sundering Slam is anywhere? Am I blind? Stun an enemy, create a Sundering Slam in hand. This could be a way for Ambessa to get kills. It could be one of your units targets an enemy. Would scissors be good on her? Possibly, but also possibly no. Because when an ally attacks, I think this would trigger before the scissors would. So even though you're summoning the unit, you're summoning it while attacking, so the attack has already been declared. So I don't think that unit would count towards scaling up. But this is really interesting. They've really made Ambessa a standout champion. This is very imaginative powers. I like that this is really a twist. Because we've seen other effects where you're scaling up your units when you attack, such as like Vayne, when you attack, all your units have like 4 power for the round. But I like that this is a permanent buff, but it's not a permanent buff for all of your units. It's permanent buffs for specific units. And then the conscription really helps double down on that, of giving you more of the same unit. I'm very happy I have a Noxian Nova Crystal. They have really surprised me with Ambessa. I'm still excited about Warwick, but I'm very excited to test this out. Yeah, so let's see what you have. Let's just think through this. You have really good scaling with your military training, because you're going to get a lot of attacks in. You're going to be able to scale up your units. You're going to get a lot of rallies from Ambessa. Both Ambessa and her starting deck having the public execution, midnight raid. You're going to have a lot of ways to get some more rallies going. Your Legion Marauder is going to scale up really well, because when they attack, they're essentially giving this buff already. Can she compete with the General? She's going to have a very different playstyle than Vayne or Swain, because Swain kind of doesn't care about his units, where Ambessa is all about her units. But yeah, you're getting extra attacks every time you're attacking, especially once you hit, like, after the first 2 to 3 rounds, pretty much every time you attack, you're going to be killing one of their units. So this won't be triggering right away. I mean, if you start scaling really fast, if you can get a full board, this can. But you're going to have great scaling from your units. You're going to start being able to get removal every time. Also, this is just kill the strongest back row enemy. So it's not strike, it's not anything like that, it's just flat out kill. And it's not kill the weakest. This is kill the strongest. So even if they have something like the Watcher with all of its stats, it does not matter. This is just killing it. So that's kind of crazy, that it doesn't really matter how big their unit is. This is still just flat out executing it. So that's kind of crazy. The Phalanx is nice. It's going to be really good for your Midnight Raid, the free attack that Ambessa is able to generate. I am happy that this is giving you a completely new card as well. This Conscription, I think this is going to be fun. I like the fact actually that it's slow, because then you can get the slow but steady. So that's really fun. And this will also trigger your barrier. It's going to work great for your powers. I think they've been very imaginative with Ambessa. And yeah, she took a champion that I could care less about like a month ago. And now it's like, oh, she actually seems like she's going to be a lot of fun. This is a good take on the million dashes and attack token. Yes. The second star power is repetitive. Yes, there are a lot of star powers that do generate a spell. But I think this is going to be a pretty fun spell, and I don't mind personally. Yes, I know there's a lot of star powers that do this, but getting a spell, the spells can be very different. And getting generated a card every round is really good, because you can often run out of cards to play. Hello, Dumoj. Happy to have you here. She looks awesome, though. Does that mean the last champ is going to be the one that interacts with path mechanics, since they said they're going to interact with them? We don't know if there's going to be another champion this patch. What I'm thinking is going to happen is that this patch and next patch are both Arcane patches. So I think that when they were referring to a third champion in their like teaser video that they released like last month, I think that's going to be the champion releasing in the next patch. Where do you think Warwick and Ambessa will be on your 6-star tier list? I think both of them are going to be very strong. Ambessa could be an S tier champion because the fact that this is just guaranteed removal, like this isn't your unit striking an enemy, it's just killing. And the fact it's not killing the weakest, it's killing the strongest, is pretty insane. So that seems really, really good. I think she's probably going to be A to S tier. Warwick, you're going to have crazy scaling. You're going to have good sustain. I feel like, and you're going to have a lot of removal with strikes, but I feel like Warwick might be more of like A tier. I mean, the next path exclusive, do you think will be one to interact with path mechanics, since all of them don't really do anything with them? Yeah, maybe. I like the aggressive playstyle they're pushing with Path of Champions with the new champs. Yeah, I think Ambessa and Warwick both are going to be looking pretty good. I kind of want to look at Warwick's powers again. So you have this crazy scaling. Allies with get 1 power for every 3 times you've dealt damage this game. Allies unit fully heal it, granted impact. And then Warwick himself is getting a lot of strikes off. Warwick definitely seems like he's going to be a lot simpler because a lot of his effects are going to be somewhat passive. Like, he's going to strike an enemy, but then after that, when he's leveled, he's just striking a random damaged enemy. You don't really have to worry about damaging units yourself necessarily because of the wounded prey. And then your scaling is also going to be pretty passive. It's just as the game goes on, like obviously you're going to try to build around this. But Warwick seems like he's going to be, while aggressive, his star power is going to be a much more passive playstyle of they're kind of just going off. And I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. Not every champion needs to be super complex. But I think the skill ceiling with Ambessa is going to be much higher because you're really actually having to make a choice with your military training. Because the good thing is, when you're attacking, all of your units are getting this buff. But choosing who you give your free attacks to scale them up, choosing who to reinforce or conscript, this seems like it's going to be very interesting and there's going to be a lot you can do. I hope we get more control in the next release, though. But Ambessa looks fun for now. I'm glad I saved some shards. Yeah, I'm happy that for Ambessa, I already have a Noxie Nova Crystal ready to go. And I have, like, maxed out fragments. So I can get all the stuff for her. I think for Warwick, I have all of the Star Crystals. Both are easy and aggressive champions. Yeah, I think neither one of them is going to be super difficult, but I think Ambessa is going to have a higher skill ceiling for the stuff you can do here. Ambessa's getting my Noxie Nova for sure. This looks way more fun than even Swain. I mean, I like Swain a lot, but I definitely like Ambessa over Samira, which would have been my current choice. But yeah, these are very interesting star powers. I think this conscription is going to be pretty fun. I like how they're taking the effect from the Legion Marauder attack, grant allied Legion Marauders everywhere 1/1, and pretty much being like, what if every unit is a Legion Marauder? Because yeah, that could be pretty crazy. Also, note that this is when you attack. There's no other limitations on this. It's not the first time you attack in a round. And it's not you're killing the weakest. It's not you're striking. It's just every single time you attack, if you have that 10 plus power, you're killing the strongest back row enemy. Like, this is crazy. Legion Deserter would go crazy. Yes. So yeah, the fact that there's like no limitations on out of my way other than the 10 plus power, which when you're getting like later in the game and especially like the mid game and after, here's going to go crazy. I don't see enough people discussing how she's going to make powers that summon units on repeat. Oh yeah, that's going to be great. So Emperor's Dais, where you're summoning the Sand Soldier to attack, that's going to be great for, well, actually no, that's probably going to be bad for you because it normally is attacking after the attack is declared, and so it might not get the buff. But other ones like Saplings will go very, very hard for you. Speaking of Swain Toast, I love the general level 3, 4-star, absolutely cleared Fizz with no problems, just steamroll the adventure. Yeah, Swain is fantastic. Echoing Spirit and Gale Force, the Beast Within, is the build for her. Possibly. Do we actually know? Did they say what her champion spell is? I'm guessing it's the Cunning Sweep. I don't think we know what her champion spell is. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go for Gale Force for the recall, especially because you'd want her to have her on the board. I think you could do that as a strategy, but I don't really want to have to, especially as a 4-cost. Probably Public Execution. I mean, yeah, it's Public Execution or Cunning Sweep. It has to be one of those two. Do you think they'll boost the 2 spell to burst? They could. And that would be strong because then you could get a burst speed, blocker, or attacker. So they could. They could boost this up to burst. I don't mind it being slow speed because I love getting slow but steady and having it going off twice. But yeah, it going to burst would be pretty good. Because then you could just open attack, summon another unit. If it's Cunning Sweep, which I think is likely, Grand General's Counterplan could be really nice. Yeah, the thing is, we don't know what this Sundering Slam is. It could be an ally targets an enemy to hit. Because that could be your way for Ambessa to get a kill. Also, this is fast speed, so if an enemy's trying to attack us or an enemy's trying to block us, we'll be able to stop them. It is true, though, that we do need to get a way to get Overwhelm. Because right now, other than Kato, I don't think we have any way to get Overwhelm. Now, we do have some amount of control with Rictus, because we know he is a free attack. Attacks on the strongest back row enemy. So we can get some stuns with him, and we have our stun from the Cunning Sweep, but we don't have Overwhelm, so we're probably going to have to go for Troll King's Crown or Beast Within. Yeah, Beast Within is going to be a pretty good call here. All right, let's see if... Okay, nope, it's just the powers being reposted here. So yeah, we don't know what her relic is, and we don't know what the slam is. It's here. What's here? Also, the patch notes normally don't load for me immediately. So if you see the patch notes, feel free to drop them in chat. Or Warwick's relic. I do think Beast Within is just better, but Warwick's is funny. I mean, you could go for the Warwick relic if you wanted here. The play an ally, give it Overwhelm and Impact. We can say Ambessa is like Vayne, but with Overwhelm. I don't think Ambessa... Like, we don't have Overwhelm, so we can't really say that. But she is very similar to Vayne, yes. I don't think Warwick's going to be bad. I'm looking forward to playing Warwick. I know a lot of people are complaining about him, but I think he's going to be fun. Anoxian Vayne, Vi with Barrier. I read a tweet that patch notes is on Wednesday, so tomorrow. Ambessa reveal, patch notes. So no, November 5th, that's today. Reveal, patch notes. The Warwick Relic right here. When you play an ally with 2 or more health, deal 1 damage to it, grant it overwhelming impact. This is doing a lot for you, because not only is it giving you overwhelming impact, which is good, but the 1 damage, this is all going to synergize really well with your powers. Because here, allies have 1 power for every 3 times you've dealt damage this game, not dealt damage to enemies. So your Relic, by damaging your own units, you're triggering more damage iterations, and so you are getting more scaling. Also, the impact is going to count as another form of damage, so that is going to give you another form of scaling. So this is just helping you scale up way faster, and endgame's also way faster. Yes, and this Relic will be really good for, like, Tahm Kench, and you could try it out for a good amount of champions as another alternative to Beast Within. And yeah, Tahm Kench is getting a massive buff this patch because this is going to be so good for him. So yeah, I don't think Warwick's going to be bad. Warwick's definitely simpler, but I would not say bad. Have you checked the LOR subreddit? People are going ballistic over Warwick. Yeah, I've seen. How are you liking Ambessa? I am very impressed with her. She seems like she's going to be a ton of fun. I really like the direction they went with the star powers. It seems very imaginative. I think she's not going to be difficult to play, but she has a lot more depth and complexity than Warwick does. And overall, I think she has a pretty great design. This is more of what I was thinking they would be able to do with Warwick. While I like Warwick's powers, the fact that they're actually bringing in more new cards, I kind of thought this is what Warwick would get, which is like 2 to 3 new cards, and then the rest kind of baseline what we thought for the cards. So yeah, overall, I think Ambessa is looking really good. I look forward to seeing what she gets for her Relic, but I'm very excited to try her out. And honestly, when people were talking about her getting revealed before, I could care less. I was just like, why would I want to play Ambessa? But I think she's looking really, really good. The amount of openness they have with some of these, like the 6-star, is absolutely crazy. The fact that this is just flat out killing the strongest back row enemy, it's not trying to strike or do anything like that, it's just kill it. This is something that can trigger from your normal attacks with all your units, but also your free attacks if you can get units big enough. I like that this is a twist of scaling up your units, but it's scaling up the specific cards everywhere. Overall, I think Ambessa is looking very good. I'm very excited to play her. I'm happy I have a Nova Crystal ready to go. Hey, Spicy, Warwick Relic might be the best available for Fiddle. Having impact on all your units is going to allow you to terrify a lot. Yes, right now, for Fiddlesticks, we are relying on the Nora Relic, but going for the Warwick one could be pretty good. All right, thank you, Marshall. So our goal with Ambessa was to have her card represent her lead character, a brawler who's always on your face, tons of mobility shields. Star powers represent a role as Noxian Warlord, head of the army. Here's her relic. So overwhelm. Okay, so that's how she's getting overwhelmed. Attack, deal 2 to the enemy nexus. If you've already attacked this round, deal 2 to all enemies as well. So that's actually really interesting. I like that they are incentivizing you to be able to get more attacks in. Giving overwhelm to at least her is solid. Doesn't make it as necessary to run Beast Within for all of your units, although you probably still are going to want to do that. But getting multiple attacks in, this could be pretty good. And since this is on Ambessa. If she kills someone with this effect, it should trigger her rally. So potentially you could get an attack in. If you could get another rally from a different effect, like your Cunning Sweep or the other one, the Public Execution, then you could attack again with Ambessa. This could kill a unit. Yes, it doesn't seem crazy, but I like that they're incentivizing you to get multiple attacks in, which is what you're already going to be doing. Makes sense to give her Overwhelm. I think this will be fun. It's not a crazy relic. I feel like this is a good one where if you like the champion, this is great to have, but it's not like, oh my word, you need to have this relic. Otherwise, you're just not going to be able to do anything. So I like that this is incentivizing people to buy her bundle, but it doesn't feel like, oh, this is pay to win, you have to have it. Relic could also be good on Vayne. Yes, this could be solid on Vayne. This could be actually really good into, again, some of the monthlies where people have limited units. Goes crazy on Lilia. Yep. Well, I don't know if it'd work for Lilia. Because with 6-star Lilia, it's like 2 different units attacking. Because the first unit that attacks, I mean, unless you use Death's Foil. If you do Death's Foil, then it could work. Swain, doing 2 to the next enemy nexus is nice, but you normally aren't going to do 2 attacks in. Yes, so the Warwick Relic is right here. When you play an ally with 2 or more health, deal 1 damage to it. Actually, let's increase this here. So you deal damage to it, give it Overwhelm and Impact, which is going to be pretty good for Victor. This one, let's not reduce the size again. So yeah, I don't think this relic is crazy, but I think it's working well for the playstyle you're already going for. Did I say Victor? If I said Victor, I probably was trying to say Vayne. Yeah, for Lilia with her 6-star, you are going to have to run Death's Foil if you're trying to do this. Yeah, Ambessa is looking pretty good, because with this, you could use your Midnight Raid, your free attack. So before she's leveled, each round the first time I kill an enemy, create a Midnight Raid. So you could attack with her, use that challenger to kill a unit. You then create a Midnight Raid, you attack again, and you're just doing that extra damage to all enemy units. So board-wide damage is never really a bad thing, other than, sometimes Lysandra. On paper, that relic seems meh. Yeah, I agree. I think right now the Warwick relic looks like it's going to have a bigger impact. I think this one is solid and it's going to work for some champions, but I don't think it is crazy, which I kind of like. I'm always a little bit sad when the epic relic that comes with them seems a little bit too strong. It's good for any champion that has a rally. Would love to use on my 6-star Darius, but he loves the relic he already uses. Would be nice to get a round start, create a Midnight Raid in a general pool. At least they're generic. Yes, that is something that is great with these relics, is they're not for specific champions. So you could use these on any champions you get. It doesn't have the same caveat of like, if you're Ambessa, win the game. So that's nice, because that is one thing that's really annoying with like some of the Yasuo relic. Like you can use that relic on Yasuo and pretty much that's it. Would be funny misfortune with twin Drakehounds. This doesn't have the marker for this being a skill, so I don't think it's going to work for misfortune. Because for misfortune, it's your spells and skills deal extra damage. So I don't think it would work. Katarina will probably like that once she procs, and of course Quinn. Yeah, this is something that will be good for any champions that like to get multiple attacks in. And I kind of like the fact that it doesn't seem too overpowered. Yuumi with Gale Force. I don't think this will work for Yuumi. Like, you'll get the overwhelm on your unit, but the other effect isn't going to go through. I don't see 2 damage being meaningful at all for most endgame content. No, for most of the time, 2 damage isn't going to be that big of a deal. It's a nice little bonus with it, but I think the Warwick one is going to be way stronger for Warwick than this is going to be for Ambessa. That being said, though, the rest of Ambessa's kit seems pretty good. So yeah, I think this is a fun design. I don't think it's crazy at all. But I'm also kind of happy with that. Haven't been here like forever. Need a recap on everything that's happened. So the biggest thing is Ambessa. She's pretty much Noxie and Vayne. She's all about killing units and getting free attacks. And her star powers are pretty crazy, giving you scaling on all of your units, but pretty much all of your units become Legion Marauders, which is really fun because Legion Marauders is a very fun card. So just making that all of your cards is pretty great. The 2-star is really good. It gives you another new card, Conscription, so you can summon another copy of an allied follower. So that can be pretty fun, especially because that gives you more scaling for your military training, because you have 2 of the same unit attacking, then they should both get that scaling. Also, Phalanx and Out of My Way seems insane, because it's just every time you attack, you're killing the strongest back row enemy as long as you have 10 or more power. Warwick Relic will be a good substitute for Beast Within if you don't have it. Yes, it'll be a good substitute, and for some people, it will even be better. Relic has potential with Kaisa. Regarding her epic, her whole playstyle is rallies and free attacks. 2 might not be enough for others, but she's definitely going to abuse the hell of it. Also, it being 2 gets past tough. Yes. It is nice that it is not just 1 damage. So that is solid. And while 2 damage by itself isn't a lot, if you're able to trigger this potentially every round, it could be pretty good. And then if you're able to attack like 3 or more times in a round, you can do 2 damage every single time you attack. So potentially this can be stacking up. So while the baseline is 2, if you can activate this multiple times, it could become more of a big deal. Yeah, Ambessa seems like she's going to be very solid. So someone said that we got Sundering Slam. Did we actually see this anywhere? As far as I know, I didn't see what this actually was. Because right now it's, yeah, stun an enemy, create a Sundering Slam. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I don't see any other photo. He shared it on the Path Discord. Okay. All right, that was just a link to the Drake Hounds. Yeah, I don't see the 3 mana stun an enemy. If it's stunned, deal 6. Okay. So that's... Thank you for clarifying. That won't be too bad then. Because then you can have a 1-cost stun an enemy, and then if you have more mana, you can then either stun a second target or try to nuke a unit down. So that's not too bad. I always like cards where it gives you a bit of an option and a choice. Ambessa is definitely going to get burst speed on one of her spells. There's a decent chance that she gets burst speed on Conscription. I mean, burst speed public execution would also be pretty crazy. You immediately take out a target and then attack. Burst speed midnight raid. Attack while you attack. All right, so the big thing we're waiting for is patch notes, which I think could drop at any moment because the hour's about to roll over, so we'll have to see. Sad Conscription can't target champions, but it's understandable. Yeah, like this is just allied followers, but I think that's fine. I also like how Ambessa is going to be a champion where you're wanting to rely on your champion, but you also are going to want to use your units, which can be an issue with some other champions. Like Vayne, for example, is very much just focusing on Vayne, and you don't really care about your units at all. But Ambessa, it actually seems like you're going to care about your units more. I don't think this will be the primary focus, but also the free attack on Rictus is going to be crazy with your star powers, because you get a free attack and yeah, they're just immediately scaling up and potentially killing enemies. Is the 4-star good on her? Yes, the 4-star is solid. For one, your conscription is going to trigger it, so it's going to give that unit barrier. Also, this is summon a exact copy of an allied follower. So this is going to first target the unit, giving them barrier from the phalanx. And so the unit that gets copied, since it's an exact copy, should also be having that barrier. So that's solid. And then you're also going to be able to use your Midnight Raid so that when your unit attacks, they are also getting barrier from that as well. So I think it should be pretty good. Also, we have the Blade Squire, Last Breath Reforged. That's going to be another easy way to do the targeting. So while it's not as crazy as I think it is on like Nora, I think it's still going to be really good. Also, the public execution, an ally strikes an enemy, so that's a good way to target a unit and give them that barrier again. Sorcery might be nuts on her. Yeah, sorcery will be very good, because being able to drop your conscription like every round potentially could be very solid. The 6-star is what should be named public execution. Yeah, I would agree with that. Mistook Yumi for Nora. Yeah, it happens. Oh, someone followed me. Okay, that's what that notification was. I thought it might be a new post. So maybe her relic, Beast Within, Warwick Living Weapon, Grangel's Counterplan. One thing we don't know is we don't know what her champion spell is. Now, it should either be Cunning Sweep or the Public Execution, and so that's really going to inform what we want to go for. Because Grangel's Counterplan or Echoing Spirit could be solid, because this is going to go down to a 4 cost, because we already saw that in her right here. We saw that Public Execution gets the Tear of the Goddess to go down to a 4 cost, which is pretty nice. Also, we do have Overwhelm on the Legion Marauder, so that's also pretty good. But yeah, this going down to a 4 cost. If we then use our Echoing Spirit, if that's her champion spell, which we don't have confirmation of that, it could then be a 3 cost, which just helps it make it be a little bit more playable. Her champion spell could be Conscription. Yes, I was kind of doubting that, but yeah, it could. They do like to do that with some champions. Like, that is the Warwick champion spell. That is the champion spell for, like, Kindred for the same setup. So Conscription could be it as well. I'm hoping that it's either Public Execution, especially because is that her? It's kind of hard to say. Like, I'm hoping that it's cutting sweep or public execution. Like, this is literally her weapons, I think. Or at least that's what they have for the Drakehound, the twin Drakehounds. So I would think that this would probably be her champion spell. Yeah, we'll see. So we actually got 5 new cards. I mean, we get Warwick, Ambessa, Cunning Sweep, Public Execution, Conscription, and then the Warwick one. Why are they dripping everything and not releasing patch notes? I mean, that's what they do every time. Rictus, right, Rictus. That's another one, yes. Forgot about him for a moment. He is another new one. Warwick showed Warwick's Blood Hunt, but Conscription doesn't say Ambessa's Conscription. Rictus is the champion spell. And the card that's generated by the 1 cost, yes. Most champion spells are their abilities in League. I don't know what Ambessa's abilities are called. Like, I thought her ability was potentially called, like, Drakehound or Drakehound's Bite or something like that. I don't know if Cunning Sweep is what her abilities are called in League. Public Execution is R. Cunning Sweep is Q. Okay. So then both of them, yeah, could work. I think they make more sense than Conscription for her champion spell. Rictus would be really good to copy with Conscription. He essentially is a permanent stun on the enemy board, has barrier, can benefit being beefed up. Yes. There's also, if you could be buffing up your Rictus to make him pretty big, then if you had another one in hand, when you played him, if he could get that free attack, he could then just kill another unit. What beard products do you use? I use beard butter. So we don't know what her blessings are yet. What do we think her Star of Legends is going to be? What do we think her support champions are going to get? Scout? Yeah, Scout would be a good call. Scout or Quick Strike Blade to give a free attack. Either of those. Yeah, Quick Strike Blade or Scout would be nice. I would prefer Quick Strike just because, for one, free attacks are more fun, but we already have multiple people that have Scout. We have both Misfortune and Kaisa. I think both of them have support champs having Scout. Was that Warwick Stars? Yeah, so these are the Warwick's Star Blessings. So your support champs have Ravenous Hydra, which we kind of figured. Blood Hunt has Mana Potion. This is really big because that is not only his champion spell, but the spell is getting generated every single round. Spells require Pyromantic Wake. And Caustic Rift has Elixir of Sorcery. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Ambessa gets. I wouldn't be surprised if one of her blessings was that Conscription went to be Burst Speed. Wouldn't be surprised if that happened. Star Blessing on Ambessa might give her 2-star spell cost reduction. Maybe. I kind of feel like they wouldn't do that since they just did that for Warwick. Yeah, the Warwick abilities, or the ones that you get in his Constellation, those upgrades, all seem like they're going to be very good. Yeah, the big thing we're waiting on now is just the patch notes, but overall, very impressed with Ambessa. I think it's a fairly imaginative and fun, and I think she's going to be a great champion. Okay, so there's the Sundering Slam. Stun an enemy. If it's already stunned, it deals 6 damage to it. So yeah, slow speed. We don't know... let's see. This just says create a Sundering Slam in hand. And I don't see anywhere where this is fleeting. So yeah, it doesn't seem like it's fleeting. So yeah, we can have another stun, not bad. And then if it's already stunned, we could deal damage to it. That seems pretty good. So yeah, that's we know what the cunning sweep is. I think Ambessa also has kind of everything you're looking for, because for one, she has card generation with the reinforced formation. This can be an issue for a lot of champions where they just don't have, they can run out of things to play. So having a card that can be pretty impactful for you is very solid. You have removal with your public execution. This also gives you a rally. Ambessa also gives you rallies. You have other removal or CC with your cunning sweep. Doing this and then playing your Sundering Slam to get more CC. You have a lot of options when you're playing your Ambessa. Also, you have great scaling with your star powers. Also removal here. Protecting your units with phalanx. I think you have a lot. A lot of ways you can do so many things. You have some control, not a ton, but some. You have good removal. You have good scaling. You have card generation. Noxus is just built different. Yeah. All I'm seeing on the news right now is Ambessa and Warwick pages, pretty much. Definitely playing her with Living Weapon. I mean, there's the one bad thing is that she is a 4-cost champion. So it's going to be a little bit to get her on the board. But she would be able to get a decent amount of attacks in and get some more scaling. And the scaling's not bad because, especially if you get her to 6 stars, you can start just removing enemy targets like crazy. Yeah, that's what I figured. This should be a fun patch. I know a lot of people are hating on Warwick. I think Warwick's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm very impressed with Ambessa. Yeah, she was a champion that I really did not care about before. Like, months ago, there were so many rumors that she was going to be the champion, and it was like, I don't really care. Warwick's power doesn't work against tough. No. So yeah, for Warwick, if the enemy has tough, it will slightly get countered. It will hurt your scaling, definitely. And it'll make it harder to damage enemies for him to get strikes off. If you're going into tough with Warwick, you probably want to go for, like, Ludens or big guns. How often should I be refreshing? Every 5-10 minutes. Normally they're gonna, since the patch notes aren't already out, they're probably gonna come out at 12:45. All right, so last patch notes they did at 12:30. Here, let's increase the size so you guys can see this a little bit better. All right, so last patch notes they did at 12:30. So we'll potentially get that, yeah, in like less than 20 minutes. Let's see the patch notes. Okay, the patch notes, the previous were 1 o'clock. So it might be 1. Patch notes before that, 45. Patch notes before that, 45. For that, 45. So it's hard to say exactly what we're going to get. It could be as early as like 15 minutes roughly, or it could be another 45 minutes. We'll have to see. I think both of them are going to be very good, though. Like with Warwick, I think he's going to scale up very quickly. Especially if you have his 4-star plus his own relic. Every time the enemy summons a unit, pretty much you're getting 1 extra damage off. Whenever you summon a unit, you're getting 1 extra damage off for the most part. And yeah, if you have like the 6-star, every 3 times, you're just scaling up. I think Warwick's units are going to be absolutely massive. But he is going to be fairly simple. Remember, kids, consistency is overrated? Yeah. That's always a problem, is people are like, oh, what time is this happening? You cover the game, you must know. And it's like, yeah, it's because I cover the game, I know that you can't know exactly because it's not consistent. Warwick is actually very good synergies and powers and kit, and they're inspired by his league kit. Yeah, like I know a lot of people are hating on Warwick, but I think he's going to be a fun champion. Is it disappointing he doesn't have his voiceover and doesn't have a level up animation? Yes. They did tell us that earlier, though. Like, we did know that. I was hoping he'd get 1 or 2 new cards. A little sad that didn't really happen. But I think he's still going to be fun. Best of 6-star, have you kill the strongest back row enemy, so it doesn't just kill the unit that blocked you in a fight. So the thing with it being a back row enemy, this should go off when you attack. So unless you have an effect such as, what is it called? Cease and desist, where you're free attacking and you are challenging a unit, like this should go off immediately. So the fact that it's a back row enemy shouldn't really matter because all of their units are back row enemies. Because yeah, this should go off just when you declare your attack, so they shouldn't have anyone unless you are actually challenging them. So as long as you're not challenging units to put them in front of you when you attack, then yeah, this should just kill their strongest unit. Just don't challenge the unit you want to kill? Yeah, exactly. Biggest hate on Warwick is his deck, otherwise sounds easy enough. Yeah, that's understandable. I do think his deck will actually work pretty well with him. But it is sad that we didn't see any new cards with his deck. But I know a lot of other people are really annoyed at like the voiceover and level up, which, yes, that's disappointing. They did try to warn us about that earlier. And I hope the game is successful enough that they can go back and change that. Because I don't really care about Ambessa's level up, but Warwick, I feel like the Warwick level up should be really cool. Like, we've seen them do cinematics, brief cinematics for Warwick, and they were all really, really cool. Power Riff will go hard with his 6-star. Just that one card gives all units 2 power. Yeah, Power Riff is going to be pretty crazy. I'm happy I have a Noxus Nova Crystal ready to throw on Ambessa. Very happy I have that, and unless I get lucky, I'm probably going to have to buy one for Warwick. You think Ambessa's 6-star is meh? I would hard disagree with that. I think this is going to be crazy strong. The fact that you could attack and just kill, like, the Watcher. Yeah, her 6-star looks incredibly good. The fact that this is the strongest enemy, not the weakest, and the fact that this is when you attack. So attacking with your full board, you'll be able to trigger this very easily. Like, hitting 10 plus power, that is not difficult at all. But if you have free attacks, you could also potentially trigger this. Also, this is not limited to the first time you attack in a round. So you could attack with Ambessa, get a rally, attack again, and both of those times be killing their strongest unit. This is a very good 6-star. Yes, this should trigger before the enemy blocks. When you declare your attack, if you haven't challenged anyone, their strongest unit should just be dead. Yeah, this 6-star looks very solid. I put one Noxian Crystal on Darius, and it's very good. I'm up with the other one on Ambessa. I'm in the same boat. Yeah, I used one Noxian because I already had it for Swain, so I got 2 of them from last patch. So I put one on Darius, and instead of putting the other on Samira, I was saving it to see what Ambessa was going to be, and I'm very happy. The patch actually might not tell us, the patch notes might not tell us too much, to be honest. Because we already know both of the champions' relics. We already know both of the champions' full star powers. They don't tell us the bonus stars in the Constellation. We already have the ones for Ambessa. Yeah, we might actually not get that much. It could tell us about any new adventures. So we know that Warwick is getting a new one, and I think in the cinematic they also showed a new one for Ambessa. So we know they're both getting a normal adventure. If we get Nightmare Adventure or Nightmare versions of both of those, we'll have to see, but that could be possible. How do you think she'll work with the power that gives stats to your card depending on deck size? I don't remember the name, stack deck, but I feel she may appreciate the extra stats in Nightmare Adventures. I think that could be okay, because extra stats are good to try to get out of my way. The 6-star triggering earlier, especially for any free attacks you would get. But I'm not sure if you'd want to use that relic over some other ones. Like, I don't think it's a bad option, but I think she's potentially going to have better ones. For one, you could, like, running Stalker's Blade on her wouldn't necessarily be bad, because the first time I kill an enemy, you create a Midnight Raid in hand. So going for Stalker's Blade on her, so you play her and she immediately, like, either she rallies or she makes a Midnight Raid, which potentially lets you get an attack in. You could actually go for... You could also go for Crown Guard. So you could potentially drop her, get a Midnight Raid, attack with it. That actually triggers your level up, so then you get another rally from the Crown Guard. And then when you attack, when the card... It technically becomes a different card, so both of these effects should be independent. You could then attack and get another rally. So you could potentially have like 4 attacks in a single round. Yeah, it'd be interesting. There's going to be some interesting combinations you could do with Ambessa. I don't think she would use stack deck. Her 3-star means that spamming 10 times the same card means they all scale harder. That is true. You might actually want to go... It would be interesting, but you could try to go for the card that makes a like 1-cost 1/1 version of whatever you have. It's the support relic. I'm forgetting the name at the moment. But it gives you a 1-cost 1/1 version of whatever card that you have next to her. The condenser, yeah. So you could attack with her, condense a unit. When you play it, it should, I think, scale back up if it's a card that you've already buffed up, because it's an everywhere buff. So I think it should go back and be bigger again, potentially. Even if it doesn't work like that, though, it gives you another unit you can attack with, which then scales up more copies of itself. So while I think you'd probably want to go for a more aggressive build than the condenser does have some special synergy with Ambessa as well. Will 6-star trigger her rally? It shouldn't, because this shouldn't count as Ambessa killing her target, because it's the first time I kill an enemy. This shouldn't count as Ambessa getting the kill, I wouldn't think. Ambessa's relic is right here. So overwhelm and then attack, deal 2 damage to the enemy nexus. If you've already damaged the enemy nexus this round, deal 2 to all enemies as well. So this is solid. It doesn't seem too crazy, but with Ambessa, you can potentially get multiple attacks in a round. Like, you can potentially get like 2 to 3 attacks. So while the 2 damage isn't that much, if you're attacking like 3 times, and so you're doing 6 damage to the nexus and 4 damage to all units, it could start to play a factor. I think it's one that's going to be good and fun to use, but it's not crazy where you feel like you have to buy the bundle. You don't feel forced to do that, which is nice. Overwhelm is a bit sad because I would like to still equip Beast Within, even if I have it on her too. Yes, but I feel like the Overwhelm will make this better to throw on some other champions, like potentially Vayne. Like with Vayne, you could maybe go for this over maybe Chosen by the Stars and get your Overwhelm from this instead. Yeah, I'm still excited for both of these champions, and I think I'm going to try to 6-star both of them. I'm really interested to see how fast we could get Warwick and his units to scale up, because I think it could be pretty insane. Also, the fact that this is an everywhere buff, so units even drop in the later game, even if you've never played them before, are going to be absolutely massive. Does Warwick's Relic work with Fiddlesticks? I think it should. Giving you that overwhelm and impact, yeah, it will be pretty good. You'll just kind of have to change your focus from going for 1-cost units with the Relic, because, well, a lot of 1-cost units might only have like 1 health. That's true. With Warwick Relic, it is when you play an ally with 2 or more health. So this one isn't a summon effect. That is true. Like, his other power is a summon effect. This one is just a play effect. So it does make it a little bit worse. But still, most of your cards, you are actually playing them. All right, hopefully in 2 minutes we get the patch notes, but we'll have to see. I still want the Warwick Relic on Fiddlesticks instead of Shock and Awe. Combined with Nora's Relic, almost everything should get impact. Yes, that is true. In regards to Arcane, are you on Zon or Piltover side? I mean, I've always preferred Zon. I always find them more interesting. I think Chemtech is more interesting than Hextech. Patch notes are unclear as when they drop. We just went back and looked at the last like 6 patch notes. Sometimes they drop at the half an hour mark. Sometimes they drop at the 45-minute mark. sometimes they drop at the hour mark. So, who knows? More of a Piltover guy. Yeah, I always like the people that are closer to like the villains because they're normally just more interesting. Like for me, I like Fiddlesticks, Volibear, Scion. I feel like that sort of aesthetic is so much more interesting than someone like Garen. What do you think about her 6 stars compared to other Noxian 6-star champions? I think that this 6-star is incredibly good. And the only other Noxian that even would be in the same ballpark would be Swain. Like, there's an argument for Swain's being better. And so I'm not fighting against that, because that Swain 6-star is very, very good. But I think this is much better than the Darius 6-star, and I think this is way better than the Samira 6-star. You forgot Viego and Swain? Yeah, I wasn't listening out to everyone, but yeah, the big villain type characters are more interesting, in my opinion, than the, like, quote-unquote hero characters or the good guys. Normally the good champions are just a bit more bland. It also sounds like not just good, but fun as well. Yes, like this will be a fun and incredibly strong star power. And I really think with Ambessa, there's going to be a very high ceiling on how good you can be with her. I think there's going to be a good amount of depth with her kit, and when you get good with her, you're going to be able to dominate everything. Do you think there'll be freebie Arcane skins? I would think so. The only thing is they said they weren't really working on skins anymore, so I wouldn't say it's a guarantee, but I wouldn't be surprised. All right, I'll refresh and see. Although normally, okay, new champion. Normally the patch notes don't load for me for whatever reason for a little bit. So if anyone else sees the patch notes, let me know. Can't wait to see clips of 10 plus power and Bessa just nuking the board with a bunch of free attacks. Yes, it's going to be pretty crazy. I like that this is one that you can use this with your full board and you'll be able to get this very consistently, but this is something that you could also do with free attacks if you get strong enough. Yeah, Ambessa is crazy everywhere. Like, she looks broken in League, she looks broken here. Zon is the impressed underdogs with very real gritty lives. Criminals, dirtbags, beggars, people with rough upbringings. Piltover is the upper class, the rich, the powerful. People with money and wonderful upbringings. They're bland and samey and mostly, I just have money, I'm smart, I'm a prodigy. I love Caitlyn, but Jinx and Vi are definitely more my style of characters. Yeah, there's just so much more depth with what it feels like with a lot of the Zonite characters. They actually just finished binging all of Season 1 to get ready for Season 2. And it's kind of crazy that like every single character in the show is just so well done. Imagine attacking 4 times per round. Yeah, I don't think your attacking is going to be as consistent as like Vayne, but there are going to be rounds where, yeah, you are getting crazy number of attacks in. LeBlanc would be her best support champion. LeBlanc would be pretty good. Yeah, because it would be not that hard to level up LeBlanc. LeBlanc with her kind of other form of conscription, her mirror image, would also be pretty good. You could use that to target your Ambessa because it can target champions. Yeah, it should be... LeBlanc would be solid. Hi, could you recommend a build for Vi? So for Vi, you can either go for Gatebreaker, just try to scale her up in hand, drop Gatebreaker and absolutely dominate. You could also go for the kind of my favorite build, what used to be my favorite build, is Packed Powder, Scourge's Stash, and Spirit of the Buru. Going for those, you can drop a 1-cost Vi that has like Tough, Quick Attack, Overwhelm, Fury. It just has like all these keywords and scales up to an absolute monster. You can also go for the Starforged build with like Starforged, Luminous, and Strength of Stone, which also does really, really good. I'm not seeing any notes. Yeah, I'm not seeing any either, so it might be at the 45 minutes, or they might make us wait the whole hour. Thanks, you're welcome. Strength of Stone is a pretty good Vi build, especially if you have her at the 5 stars. It is really good. She doesn't get extra mana with Strength of Stone and Luminous. No, she does. Because I think she has like 4 baseline. Strength of, or Luminous gives you +3, and then Strength of Stone gives you 1 or 2. So yeah, she gets the extra mana. Which is why it's so good. Yeah, I'm happy I have a Noxian Fragment for her, or Nova Shard. This is going to be fun to play with. I'm still looking forward to Warwick quite a lot, though. I think this is going to be pretty fun, just have absolutely massive units. And also, I like the playstyle of Warwick, just getting a bunch of strikes off as well. If you're able to get Fury on Warwick, it's going to go super hard. I bought a bunch of coins. Should I get the 11 chest bundle with the Nova? Yeah, the Star Crystal bundle is a great way to get a ton of, well, Star Crystals and also Nova Crystals. That's how I was able to get so many of my champions to 5 and 6 stars, was that bundle. Even without Starforged Gauntlets, if you don't have it, Strength of Stone is good on her. Yeah, especially with the revamp of Vi's star powers, I think it's still pretty good. Which connected as something like when enemy attack, granted vulnerable -1. When an ally challenges an enemy, give it 3 power when he finally releases. Yeah, I look forward to Renekton being released. He's another champion that I really like. I actually have so many Novas right now, I don't have enough shards to upgrade everyone I want to. I'm at the point where I'm completely capped on shards. So if I open any like vault, such as like a gold vault or platinum vault, it just gives me Stardust. I'm surprised Riot didn't make her like a 4-cost with 2/7 stats. This is actually one thing that's pretty good with Ambessa. Since she does have the 5 power, you will be able to drop Trifarian Might, or if you get Trifarian Might, when you drop her, she can get a strike off and potentially give you that Midnight Raid, or even Rally if she's already leveled. I mean, she's not that squishy. She does have Barrier, so I think that's good. The Pike Relic on Ambessa would be funny to get. I don't think it's really that needed because you already have Challenger. So I don't think it's doing that much for you. All right, while we wait for the patch notes, I think we're gonna drop a quick ad break. I also need to go to the bathroom. Except I suggest if you need to go to the bathroom, get a drink, do any of that right now. The patch notes will potentially drop in like 5 minutes, either that or it'll be like 15 or yeah. Hopefully it's just like 5 minutes. All right, be right back. All right, I don't have huge complaints about Warwick, but wasn't hyped. But I'm so excited for this champ. Just want to play her right now. That's good. I mean, not every champion. You don't have to be hyped for every champion. To get back to Piltover and Zon, I understand the need for the rich in white heroes, but people need something to look up to. Over the years, I find it disheartening and rude to spotlight something in this sparkling rose light, and much prefer the more relatable, sometimes morally questionable characters. Really well-designed villains and anti-heroes are my favorite characters because they aren't playing up their image to PR or press. I don't know, that's my take on it. Yeah, Silco was one of my favorite... I was about to say champions. But Silco is one of my favorite characters from Arcane. I think his characterization and development was very good. Isn't stun the back row enemy the same as stun an enemy? Pretty much the only difference is if you are challenging. So if you are attacking and one of your units is challenging an enemy, then this isn't going to stun that unit. So it's normally not going to make a difference. It's pretty much only if you're challenging targets. Arcane did a really good job of showing Jace as more than just a hero, showing Victor as more than just a genius, showing off Caitlyn as more than a sniping prodigy cop. Really hope the writing continues in season 2. Yes, Arcane is one of the best made shows ever. Their characterization is fantastic. I always thought Jace as a character was incredibly dull and boring. The show actually made me like him more. And then, yeah, what they did with Victor, I mean, yeah, every single character for all of their roles are really good. Like, since I just watched through the show, every single character in the show is very good. You don't have to like each character, but for their role in the show, they just do an excellent job. Yeah, it's incredibly well done. All right, 43, potentially 2 minutes, we get patch notes. The animation style even impressed me more. Yeah, the animation style is fantastic. Like, everything about that show. The design of it, the writing, characterization. It's a very incredible show. Arcane can go over 50 seasons since there's shit tons of champions and storylines to cover. Potentially, I think it would be difficult. it's not woke. That is something they did really good with the show, is they touched on a lot of issues without making it feel like they were preaching at you. Because that's kind of the biggest thing people complain about whenever they classify something as woke, is it really people are pissed that the game or show or whatever is preaching at them. But the game had representation of all sorts of different types of characters. It addressed a lot of different, social matters, but none of it ever felt like it was preaching at you or trying to beat you with a specific message. All the characters were really well done, and they did any sort of representation in a way that actually felt genuine. It was really good. Arcane is the best show on Netflix. I've watched no cap. I mean, Arcane is just one of the best made shows ever, I think. Like, even if you don't necessarily like the show because of personal preference, as far as how well it's made, it is insane. It is so good. Yeah, it is very impressive. All right, 45. Everyone refresh, refresh the patch notes, that is. See if they dropped for you. They normally drop for me later, so I'm not seeing it, but that doesn't mean they're not up. Check on your end, anyone, and see if the patch notes are showing up for you. Nothing for me either. Okay. We maybe have to wait another 15 minutes, sadly. Yeah, really the patch notes, I mean, they'll tell us if there's any different bundles. They'll probably tell us if we're going to get free skins for Arcane, and then they'll probably tell us how many or what adventures we might get. Like, I think both Warwick and Ambessa are getting a low-level adventure. We don't know yet if they're also getting nightmare versions of them. Nothing yet, but you can always access the direct link. Yeah, normally what happens is people are able to post it in chat. Patch notes are dropping today? Yes. We complete each other's sandwiches. When will the patch be live? It'll be live tomorrow. I think it's like 24 hours and 15 minutes the patch should be live, I believe. With all the build-up, seems like the next destination will be Noxus. Possibly. But, I mean, they could take it in kind of any direction. Is there a third champion king of Constellation? I don't think so. I think what they were hinting at is that both this patch and next patch are going to be Arcane themed, I'm guessing. And so the third champion they were referring to, I think, is next patch. Because I think if there was going to be a third champion, I think they would have revealed it. Yeah, so far, I think overall they did pretty good with both of these champions. Can't wait to finally get my boy Victor. Yeah. Next champ could be a new champ plus Victor, maybe. If they keep the 2 champions per patch. Yes. Seems kind of likely Victor is getting a rework across all platforms and games. That would be interesting. Isn't Epic Relic too strong? I don't know which one you're talking about. I think the Warwick one is very strong. I think this is going to be great for Warwick. I think it's going to be fantastic for Tom Kench. And then I think for other people, this could be an alternative to the Beast Within. So I think this one looks good. The one for Ambessa, I think it's good, but I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's too strong, definitely. I think it's solid. I don't think it's crazy. I wonder how Victor's epic relic could be if he's in Path of Champions next patch. Might work with Acel. Possibly. Victor does, or at least the current Victor. We'll see if he gets reworked. But currently, yeah, created cards are very good for him. Yeah, I think both of these relics, I like how they've done them. Because for the Ambessa one, it's one that you'll be happy to get and play with if you buy her bundle, but it's not one where you're like, oh, it's just pay to win, you have to buy it. I like that aspect of it. I don't really like when the epic relics feel too strong so that they feel almost mandatory. The Warwick one is closer to that. I do like, though, how this is going to work well for Warwick. It's going to work well for other people. But I think especially with Warwick's 4-star power, this will be good. I don't feel like you have to run it, though. But I think this one is closer to being in that mandatory pool. Warwick is more generic and could have more uses, but Ambessa is nice too. Yeah. Victor 6-star, round start, create a random card from your regions, give it fleeting, set its cost to 0. None of the paid relics are mandatory for me. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, technically, none of them are mandatory. I think the one that was the closest was the Caitlyn one, but I went and I was still able to clear like a 5-star adventure without it. So it's like, okay, it's not mandatory, it is just really good. Yeah, Victor very much is keywords and created cards. Victor's current lore look doesn't fit the Arcane canon. They announced that they'd be giving him a visual gameplay update to fit his new canon. They have avoided showing Victor in all of Arcane Season 2 media. They haven't said anything about him in LOR. So it all points to him getting a rework across all Arcane. Season 2 finishes with releasing next patch. That's the thing. Victor, I found his conclusion, her storyline, kind of lacking in Season 1. Like, I really liked Victor. He was one of my favorite characters. And that's still very much a storyline that needs to be picked up a lot. And yeah, Victor from Arcane is very different from the game, because his evolution is not really replacing his body with technology. It's more his body's been replaced by this hex core. Also, the hex core seems... it has a lot of void elements to it. Also, if we look at... let's go here. So for Legends of Runeterra, that's actually not a good one. If you see here, these symbols, or this like design, this is from the hex core. So I just watched Arcane and just watched the whole thing like a little bit ago. This was very much a design throughout the hex core when stuff was happening with Victor. This is a very similar design to void things. Like, I'm going to pull up Kaisa here. So if we look in game, you see similar architecture sort of aspects from the void, with stuff that's generated from the hex core. Like, it's not identical, but it is similar. Organic stuff, very hex core, either new magic or void or something. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if the hex core, because also Heimerdinger was freaking out because when he saw the hex core, he was like, I have seen this destroy civilizations. And this is also all from Season 1 of Arcane. I know nothing about Season 2. But as Victor was using the hex core, it started becoming more organic. and it was really giving me vibes of like the Void. So I don't know if that is going to become like a gateway to the Void, if it's somewhat changing him. I mean, even if you look at his skin for Victor, his skin became like purple, and purple is very much the Void. So is the Hex Core turning him into more of like a Void creature? Is his evolution changing from one that's actually based on technology into transforming him into something else? I don't know. But also, like, the whole Hex Core thing, in Arcane Season 1, Victor tells or has Jace promise him that he's going to destroy the Hex Core. Victor's like, I can't do it. I need you to do it. Promise me you're going to destroy it. We don't see any resolution of that through line in Season 1. So Season 2, yeah, it makes sense to continue Victor's story because we really didn't get a conclusion to Victor's story at all. So that's going to be really interesting to see what's going on there. Victor's story will be getting a lot of attention in Season 2, I hope. Also talking about the Hex Core, it's literally bleeds black sludge. It's purple, it covers Victor in weird plating, and yeah, the more magic he uses, the more it reacts. Yes, it's an interesting design, because yeah, Victor was someone that previously in the lore was all just about, like, actual technology. And there wasn't really a magic element part of it, but like, yes, he was using a hex core, but in the show his evolution is very different. If Void comes back, Aatrox is going to be like, oh shit, here we go again. They removed the origin of the hex tech crystals. Maybe we get a new one. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what we get for Arcane Season 2. And yeah, I just recently re-binged it all, and I was like, yeah, this show is crazy. It's so good. They're out. Patch notes are out. All right, I don't see it. If anyone has links to patch notes, feel free to drop them. Can't wait for Necrit's 5-hour breakdown. Did he do that for Arcane Season 1? I don't think I watched them. Sorcerer didn't happen? Yeah. I mean, if they're not out yet, they should be in like 3 minutes. I like how you went from calling... Oh, I thought you were like calling him a liar and being like, oh, they're out for me. Yeah, Link or they're not out. Also, I will say with Arcane, not only is it one of the best shows ever made, but since it's a show based on a video game, it's amazing how I don't think you have to care about the video game at all to enjoy the show. Like, it's good. Yeah, I believe the first episode is on the 9th. Sonic as well. Yeah, I did recently rewatch Sonic. And that's a pretty great show. Okay, someone has patch notes, apparently. Alright, patch notes. We actually have it. Patch 510. Or is this the old one? Is that the old one? Just trolling? Sad, but we do have Someone has them here. Okay, Legends of Arcane. Players can now find a new event campaign on the world map, Legends of Arcane. This will feature a new power teamwork, which will give players a chance to find champions 1, 2, 3, or 6-star powers in the power pool, or for a sale of new non-combat encounters. To facilitate this, the rarity of most champions' 1-star powers have been changed to common. As of patch 5.11, the following adventures will be available. So, the Kraken Priestess, so Alawi, Bilgewater 1.5, Emperor of the Sands, Shurima 2.5, the Might of Demacia 3.5, the Enlightened One, Ionia 5.5, the Star Forger, Targon 6.5, so that's huge. The 4.5 difficulty versions of the Wrath of Zon adventure will also be available in the Legends of Arcane campaign. The Legends of Arcane event will be available through patch 5.12. So we're getting all of these adventures as part of this whole Arcane event. So we're getting tons of new adventures, but they're only going to be available right now for this patch and next patch is what it's looking like. Also note that in these adventures, we're not getting normal powers. We're getting other champion star powers. So if you ever wanted to play one champion with another champion's powers, you'll now kind of be able to. So you're going to pick these up at power pools, and then you can buy them on special non-combat encounters. So we're getting a ton of new adventures, hopefully a bunch of rewards with these adventures. We're also getting not only a adventure for Warwick, we're also getting a 4.5 star difficulty, so a nightmare one as well. Sad time limited. I mean, it's time limited for this month and next month. Who knows if they will bring it back? Also, the fact that this is going to be available this month and next month really makes me think that we're getting 2 Arcane patches. So this is the first patch, and then we're going to get another Arcane-themed patch next month is what I'm thinking. Wrath of Zon on the world and the Nightmare version. Potentially, yeah. Potentially the second one is part of the campaign event. Okay, so that's pretty big. This is the Arcane event that people have been thinking. So there's a ton of adventures to go through, and this is a great mix because we have 1.5 star, 2.5, 3.5, 5.5, and 6.5 star adventure. So no matter what level you're playing at, there is new adventures for you to go through. So this is good. We'll have to see what rewards we get through these. And then, yeah, 4.5 for the Wrath of Zon. This is going to be pretty big. One moment. I just need to mute something. Okay, so, well, can you read that? Okay, so, Lope over at Riot has helped me out. She sent me the patch notes a little bit early so that we can go through them on stream together. So thank you for that. So let's go through and look at the full patch notes together here. All right, so this is available November 6th, approximately 11. That's normal. new adventures, the Wrath of Zon. So explore Piltover, the City of Progress, in the brand new story adventure. Enjoy all the new encounters, but be careful as you descend into the Undercity. Something terrifying might be lurking in the shadows. So this is the new, like, 1-star, I believe, adventure that they showcased for Warwick. So that'll be big. Yeah, the actual patch notes might drop in like an hour, but here you go, and you can look at them here. All right, let's see. There we go. That should be a good size that everyone can read. All right, world map campaigns. This is kind of what we just read in the other Twitch stream. Players can now find the new events with the teamwork. This is what we were looking at before. All of these new events that will be available this month and next month as part of the Arcane event, and the 4.5-star version of the Wrath of Zon. The big thing for these adventures is we are getting other champion star powers as powers in this adventure. So you're not only getting your own champion star powers, but you'll be able to pair it up with other champions 1, 2, 3, and 6-star powers. It'll be interesting to see if the 2 stars also give us the extra mana. Probably not, but we'll see. New content. So Ambessa, the new champion. We've taken a look at all of these before, but pretty awesome that allies attack everywhere, get that 1/1 buff. Yeah, this is all pretty much what we have just spent the last hour or two looking at. So I think we'll move on a little bit. Okay, new cards. These haven't loaded yet. Lope did, say that some of the stuff wasn't going to be loaded since this is kind of an early look at it. So these new cards should be most of what is in Ambessa's package. So with Ambessa, so we have the Warwick one, his champion spell, Ambessa champion spell, Rictus, Conscript. Yeah, this should be pretty much the ones we've seen from the packages that got released earlier. So Warwick, another new champion. Okay, that is, again, what we knew. That should only be Ambessa's new cards. Yeah, that should be most of the cards we just saw in people's starting deck. So I don't think there's really going to be anything other than that. So yeah, we have all the Warwick star powers. These were the ones that got released earlier, so we've already broken these all down quite a bit. So we'll keep looking. Oh, here are the new cards. These are probably ones with Warwick. All right, so with Warwick, 4 new cards. That's interesting, because the only new cards we really saw was the Blood Hunt, his champion spell. That's all I can really think of. So I don't know if they're counting both copies of Warwick. What's the 4th card? I'm not sure. Yeah, Warwick leveled up, Blood Hunt. I'm not sure what the other one is. Maybe both versions of his champion card. It could be Blood Hunt and Warwick's Blood Hunt. That could be it. That's a good call. New items, relics. So here are the 2 epic relics that people, the devs released earlier. So the Twin Drake Hounds, as well as the Cruel Experiments, which they're a little small. Let's try to move it over. These are the ones we actually saw. So new bundles. So we have the Ambessa. So normal, Celebration, 4 and 5 stars. Warwick, Celebration, 4 and 5 star. Okay, makes sense. Bundle series. So this patch includes 2 new bundle series, allowing you to gradually increase levels of value for vaults and reliquaries. Interesting. So last patch, they added an XP bundle. So you could get a bunch of they used to be called pearls. Now they're called something else that I'm forgetting off the top of my head. But then they also released the Star Crystal bundle. So those were really good. So these are 2 new bundles for relics. So we'll have to see. It's probably going to be like a bunch of bronze, a bunch of silver, and maybe a couple gold. Blessings. Yeah, thank you, Jump. And then Champion Series. I'm not sure what that's going to be. All right, but content change list. So changed powers, changed items in Relic. Voidling Shell has been removed from the item pool. So this one kept having bugs. So it's kind of funny that they are just getting rid of it. Lux's illuminated Luminous Sprites get Bright Staff Spirit instead of Voidling Shell. That's a little rough. Yeah, a little rough there. Voidling Shell has been the source of a lot of bugs and carries with it a lot of complexity, so we're removing it from the pool for now. That makes sense, because they do keep having issues there. Changed Emporium offers. Big guns no longer will be available in the Emporium. Instead, Beast Within will be available for a limited time. So that is pretty big. Beast Within is one of those relics you really want to be able to have. It's very valuable. So you could still get this from Golden Reliquaries, but for anyone that's having bad luck with RNG and they want to be able to just buy it from the Emporium, that's now going to be available for you. So that's pretty big for people. You will have to still buy this with coins, but it's nice that it's available to get. Bug fixes. Fish an issue where completing the final region slot for the Ancient Fear did not grant a Runeterra Gold Star vessel. That is fantastic, because that means everyone that fixed it or has done this should be getting this, I think, in like the mail. So that's good. So that's, yeah, it was a little sad that we didn't get that Gold Star vessel from Fiddlesticks. So that is awesome. That's big, because that's just a kind of free Golden Star vessel for a lot of people that completed this. Fix an issue with a game crashed when Fiddlesticks would level up when played into a full back row containing a Husk or Sigil of the Storm. Fix an issue where Nightmare traps did not count as trap triggers. I wonder if this means some people, such as like the Mr. Thrift. I wonder if this will now work with Mr. Thrift. Because if so, that could be good. That could be really good. Fix an issue where the adventure panel for World Adventures could open when entering the Path of Champions with the Nightmare layer active. Huh, never saw that. Glad it's fixed, though. Fix an issue where the game crashed when purchasing the Battle Pass from the featured tab of the store in the world map. Rough. Fix an issue where the weekly adventure duration banner covered the campaign difficulty icon in the adventure panel. Fix an issue where Reap was not a choice card. Oh, that is true. For the Reap, what you'd have to do is like click and then skip. So that is interesting. It's actually supposed to give you the choice. Yeah, I mean it was working before, but that'll be nice. Fix an issue where prismatic chests were not properly displayed when claiming rewards in the world map. Fix an issue where the adventure journal displayed incorrect adventure unlock requirements instead of the correct requirements. Fix an issue where Yumi's Star of Discovery was not applied to acquired one-cost Poros when her Star of Wonder is also unlocked. That's nice. And then fix an issue where the game would hang when an opponent drew a card, ooh, this is big, with a Nightmare and Flash Bombs with Hex Tech Rifle equipped. So you can't actually see my cursor. There we go. This is really good because the Fiddlesticks Nightmare, the Fiddlesticks Relic, the Harmless Scarecrow, is actually very good for Caitlyn. So the only issue is it would like hang up your game and cause it to just freeze. So you'd have to close it out. So this being fixed is fantastic. I definitely recommend playing Fiddlesticks, or not Fiddlesticks, playing Caitlyn with the Fiddlesticks Relic now, or at least once this goes live, because that's very good. Still no bug fix to Aatrox's Darken weapons not receiving Phage. They fixed it so that equipment you acquire gets it, just not the Darken equipment. Okay, so a lot of good bug fixes here. Them getting rid of the Voidling Shell is a little bit sad for specifically for Lux, for the Lumino Sprite, but overall I get getting rid of it. It does keep giving a whole bunch of bugs. The 3 loot on the main screen, that's potentially being fixed with right here where prismatic chests were not properly displayed. So I don't know if that was causing the issue. I am interested to see what these new bundle series are, because the ones they added last patch I think were really good. So I kind of like that they're continuing this unique bundle series. It can really help people level up or power up their accounts if they're interested in it. Overall, a lot of this stuff we did already kind of go over earlier, but seems pretty good. The big thing, though, is going to be this Arcane event, because not only are we getting a ton of new adventures, these adventures are a wide range of different star levels. So no matter where your account is, you're going to have a lot of new content to play. Oh, accidentally clicked it. So yeah, you're going to have a ton of new content to play. Hopefully a bunch of rewards to get. We'll have to see how many rewards these all have, because there's so many. Hopefully a good amount. And the big thing, though, is in these adventures, you're getting other champion star powers. So you're going to be able to do potentially some just absolutely crazy builds, because you can get other champions 6-star powers even. So this could be a lot of fun. Like, imagine just getting Swain, you're playing Swain, and you get the Vex, or not the Vex, the Jinx 6-star, where all of your spells and skills deal double damage. So this could be, or this will be, a lot of fun. I've been hoping that they would do something of giving you the ability to play with other champion star powers, like whether your support champion would also come with their star powers or something like that. But this is going to be a lot of fun. This feels like having something like Earth or Spellbook and Path of Champions, like a game mode. Yes, that's pretty much what it's going to be like. When will the patch be? So the patch will be tomorrow. It'll be like in about 24 hours. All right, so overall, I think this will be a solid patch. We have 2 champions that I think will be pretty fun. We're going to get the Golden Star Vessel. Yes, that's going to be a pretty big change. So if you fully completed the Fiddlesticks Adventure, you should have a Golden Star Vessel waiting for you tomorrow. So that'll be pretty good. And then we're getting multiple new adventures, because we're getting a couple for the new champions, but also we're getting all of these. All of these ones will have the special champion powers. We're getting a ton of content. Are they going to refund a gold star vessel for whoever did the 6.5 till the end? They should. Yeah, they'll probably be like in your mail or your loot or whatever it's called in game. There should be a chest probably waiting for you when the patch goes live if you've already done it. So yeah, overall, I think this is a pretty good patch. I know a lot of people are upset with the fact that, like, we don't have unique champion level ups, that we don't have champion voiceover. Yes, that definitely sucks. We did know about that going into that. They did warn us, like, hey, going forward, a lot of these champions aren't going to be able to do that. Now, I think Riot could potentially change their position on that, because they were trying to focus on getting as many champions out as possible. But if the community would rather be having less champions but have them be more polished, that's potentially something that they could do. Going back to earlier, we have Ambessa, level 2 conscript, Richter, sweeping, public, the card making sweeping. That's 7. What the hell is Warwick's 4th? So for Warwick, what is the 4 cards? It's potentially Warwick, leveled up Warwick, Blood Hunt, and then the Warwick's version of Blood Hunt. They didn't show Ambessa's champion spell at all, but for Warwick they did. Yes, for Warwick they showed us which one was the champion spell. I don't think they did that for Ambessa, so we still don't know yet. That's kind of the one thing, yeah, we still don't really know with Ambessa. All right, I think that's where we'll call it for today. Looks like a awesome patch that we're going to get. I'm going to go quickly do the patch notes video for YouTube, but we'll be streaming everything when it goes live tomorrow. So definitely check it out. The video or the patch should be live in like 24 hours. We have a ton of champions to do, tons of adventures to go through. But thank you all for hanging out. Hope you all have a great day. Hope to see you tomorrow. See ya.